You know that I usually say AI is terrible and AI cannot replace the human writer at all. In fact, my stance was it can't even touch the human writer. Like, you're better off with a writer creating your blank drafts. That's you. All that changed. So I have a completely different perspective. And if you haven't heard, I'm also the VP now of an AI writer. Times are changing so fast, and I just cannot believe that we're here. We're living in the future. It's crazy, 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 crazy. So January 8th, I found this AI writer, and everything changed when I found it because I realized for the first time that SEO content writing can be completely written by AI, and it's good. It's well written. It's at a level, I would say, that's better than a beginner content writer. And if you're here and you run an agency or you have done any kind of writer hiring, you know how much of an absolute bear that can be. I mean, I ran a writing agency for 10 years. Thank God I sold it. However, I don't think you need to worry. I think you can pivot successfully. In fact, we're seeing that in this company I'm working in. We're seeing content agencies adapt to the model I'm going to show you in a minute. So you don't really need to fear, that's going to stop, I think, a lot of people progressing. So you're here, you're in the right room, right? You're in a place where a lot of us are adapting to this in our process. And I went from hating AI and saying, don't use it at all, to not only using it, but actually working in the freaking company as the marketing VP. That's how much times have changed. And the reason I'm working for this company is because I believe in it so much. This is going to be, I believe, the billion-dollar brand in SEO, in, I would say, content at scale, which is literally the name of the company. So if you do generalized content at scale, this is how to do it. It's a new model. It's going to revolutionize everything. Whenever people, businesses, teams, publishers, marketers learn that we can now replace really the human content writer completely with AI. There's multiple ways to do it. So it blows my own mind, you guys, that I was saying just 3 weeks ago, actually 4 weeks ago, because it was December and then January 8th when all that changed for me. So it just blows my own mind that I'm here and I've actually had all my writers adapt to this process, and we are no longer using human writers as the bait. So let me go back a little bit. Why is this something that we can do? Because Google has said multiple things, right? And what it boils down to is that EAT acronym, which is now EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So you have to have those things in your content to rank. Like, that's just bottom line, right? And if that's not present in these AI writing tools, then forget it. Like, it's just not going to work. So the reason that we can use AI writing is, for me, like, I have found that there's an AI writing tool that's quality. It's giving me good stuff to work with that's nearly ready. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a minute. And by the way, we have a hot seat we're going to do towards the end, where I'm actually going to write a piece for one of you. So hopefully you stay to the end, because that's going to be so much freaking fun. So Google's guidelines, Danny Sullivan, the liaison, comes in and says, you know what? We don't care how it's written, as long as it's quality, right? So that made a lot of people lose their heads, because what? We thought AI content was bad. Well, no, it's not. So that kind of opened up the game, and it made marketers around the world realize, okay, wait, we can use AI in our process. We just can't publish spam. Like, that's the thing, right? Can't publish spam. So the model that I am building out, it's already been in use by Content at Scale for hundreds and hundreds of businesses. We have so many use cases of this working. So the model that we're using is this. And basically what it is you're taking that human layer, which is your first layer of content, right? How do you get a draft done? How do you get an outline done? Do you do it, or does the writer do it? So think about that. That's usually that first baseline. So that's human, right? That's been human up until now. Well, I'm telling you, you don't have to do that anymore at a human level at all. Even the outline. And I'm going to show you what that looks like soon. So you can completely replace that with AI, and you can have a 2,500 word blog that's good. I would say better than the average beginner content writer, more SEO'd, more ready to publish than the average beginning content writer for less than a penny per word. So that's revolutionary. I can't believe that we're in these times. Like, I'm still pinching myself and waiting to see if I'm going to wake up in the fifth element or something, because I'm shocked that we're here. I'm shocked. And what this means, I think one of you, probably not here in another time zone, asked me, so Julia, did you boot all your writers? No, I did not. But I will tell you, we won't be needing to hire anymore. And the ones we will hire will be completely different types of writers. So this acronym that I kind of invented, came up with right when I started my role as marketing VP, was AIO. And what does that mean? So instead of going and posting a job for an SEO writer, instead of going and getting training for an SEO writer, if you adapt this model, which by the way, saves you 3 to 10x your time or the writer's time if it's them producing it, and it saves you 2/3 the cost. That's unbelievable. I can't believe we're in these times. And this is somebody that was like, you can't use anyone but a human, right? I said that for 12 months. So I can't believe we're here. Oh my gosh, it blows my mind. So this AIO model, AI is your base and you're optimizing the content from there. That's the thing that I'm trying to get out there, teach. We have so many plans. I'm going to be in many places speaking about this, because what I think you can do is completely reduce all of the grunt work and all of the hours and hours of time it took to get that draft, to do the SEO research for that 2,500 word blog. It could have been a 1,500 word piece. Same thing applies. So all of that grunt work, all of that human base can now be completely done by AI. And again, I'm going to show you, we're going to do this live so we can work through questions and kind of see how this works. So that is incredible. And the AIO model really means that you can save significant amounts of time and money. This is a no-brainer. When people start to realize that this exists and that the content is good, which has been my sticking point. Content hasn't been that good, right? For generalized content at scale, this is changing the game, and it continues to. So in that AIO model, you need a writer that knows how to edit. And that's what I've switched my writers to. So for Dom's question, Julia, did you boot your writers? No, I didn't. I trained them to become AIOs. And that's what we're working on a pretty mass scale with content at scale and all of the clients, because they have a whole array of done for you services that will probably shut down one day, because all we need to do is focus on the product and get really great there. But going back to this, so if you kind of switch your writer, and let's say you're going to use AI as the base to produce content, and this is really difficult to do with a tool like ChatGPT. Jasper writes blogs. I haven't really seen it write anything near that I could publish. So those tools, it's really hard to do with. It's really hard to do this with. You don't want to introduce something in your process that's actually an obstacle that you trip over. That's why I couldn't really adapt at all. I would break ChatGPT trying to get it to write a blog. I would break Jasper trying to get it to, have the correct flow of a good SEO structured blog. So now, we don't have to worry about that anymore. This tool generates incredible content. And depending on what you do, it can get as low as a half a penny per word. So just ridiculous. Can't believe it. So I'm shifting my writers into a whole different model of becoming an editor for the AI tool. So they're, number one, learning how to use the AI tool, right? We've introduced it. And then number two, they're learning what it takes to edit that content. So we call that process optimizing, because it's not just editing content. You're not some editor, that comes from the AWAI forums, and you're not just going to redline this thing and then pass it off like a student paper. So that's why it's optimization-based process. So let me show you, we're going to move from the model, which is just mind-blowing to see the time and the money savings. I just can't believe we're here. I'm going to keep saying that, and it's going to echo a little bit. I just can't believe it. It's crazy. Okay, so here's the 5-step process. Very, very, very simple. But I want to keep it simple because I want the writer to get inside of the tool and just get to work. And this has worked really well. And the way we stacked it is the way that a good writer would naturally go about self-editing their work. So if you've ever worked with a writer, right, they should be self-editing their work. The best content writers do. So that's the process now we can have with AIO. We can have AI write really good content. It's long form. It's ready to rank. It's a web page. It's a landing page. It's your blog, all of the good stuff, the meat, right? The meat of the content, not your short form. This is long form we're talking about. So when the writer takes that from the AI tool, then all they need to do is run through these 5 steps, and it's going to be great. And on average, average, this is taking about an hour for a good writer, and I'm paying around $40 an hour. So the writer used to get actually less per hour when we were paying per word. So what we're doing now is we're just increasing the amount of content they do, and it's at a great hourly rate. And I'm happy, right? Because I save 2/3 of my money and I'm getting more content. So I mean, what? This is crazy. So the first step, they really have to cut the fluff, and this is true. Like, this applies if the baseline was human, because even human baseline editing can be, or I should say baseline human writing can be garbage on the first draft. Now it looks like we have a question. So let me pause for that. Someone raised their hand. I want to get to that person. We'll do questions like at the end, but if you want to even unmute and speak, whoever raised. Okay.
Oh, that was me.
That was you. Yes.
That was me. Hey, so here's a question. I know you're going through your presentation, but I just had this, I need to ask you right now.
Oh, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, so like, for example, in my current position right now is that I've been experimenting with ChatGPT, and there's a new Chrome extension that was just recently developed like a week ago. It's called AIPRM, and it really dramatically improves quality of the information in the article that is being developed. That's just part one. Now, what I'm currently also looking for is, I guess, content editors to help out. So if you can bring this, discuss this part, because I would basically draft the entire article with the information that I need to bring in. Because right now, what I'm noticing is that you just really need to get really, really good with prompt engineering. That's like the latest term right now, in order for you to tell the AI to spit out what you want in the draft and then get it edited by, an expert writer, literature person. That's just my weakness. So if you can, in the call to discuss where you find, I know Upwork, but how do you phrase it? Properly find the right person that you're looking for, because that would be game changer for me, because I do have a plan to launch this blog that I want and own the digital market within a specific niche, because it's wide open right now. So if I can do that, I'll just throw up 100 articles a month. Like right now, like I'm not even joking, so I can get as much data out there so I can get a lot more eyeballs and attention onto the brand itself. But okay, cool.
Yes. Well, that's exactly what's coming up. So that you just summed up. That's a good lead into what's coming next, because that's what I'm going to touch on. I mean, you can do that, right? You can publish hundreds of pieces now, and all you need is what I call an AIO, the person that's going to edit, but not just edit. They're going to get it ready for publishing. So that's several steps. So how to find that person, we'll talk about that, but let's go back to this. So these are just the steps, right, that you want to follow if it's your writer doing that work. So step one, cutting the fluff. Step two, you want to check the facts. Like, no matter how good this tool is, and we got GPT-4 rolling out soon, no matter how good it gets, like, there will still be, because we see this all the time, there will still be instances of fact and accuracy whenever it's not written by a human, because these tools, they don't know, like, for example, the term AIO. If I was to ask any tool, even ChatGPT, write me an article about what AIO is, well, they're not going to know, because I just invented this last week, right? So you want to think about anything that's like brand new, anything that's unusual, unique, like double check those facts, make sure they are right. Explanations of technology, we've seen that, really messed up by these tools. So make sure, if you're in tech, like that, the facts, how something is described, how it works, make sure that's accurate. And then step three, personal story and style, like that's critical. When people click an email, whenever they click on that blog link from that email, that's because of the person behind that content. So we don't want to lose that. That's really, really critical here. So adding in that personal story, it could be an anecdote, it could be a customer testimonial, a customer example, and that's going to go on your blog, your webpage. So that's step three. And then step four, your links. You're going to pull affiliate links, put that in the content. There's no tool so far that can do that, even though Content at Scale actually is rolling out features to do this, which is mind-blowing. What? The links are done too. So that's something you want to do, is check your links. And then the last step, add images, right? Because an image like this, for example, I don't know how much you've tested with tools like Dolly or Midjourney, but images like this can be hard for these tools to generate versus a human designer that can put it together. And you have like a model, for example, right? That's built out and it's factually accurate. And that's the thing, like that to me has been my biggest sticking point, the inaccuracy of these tools. Because if I was to ask it to put together a model, for example, like this is the model model we were talking about, right? The time and savings, like it went from 8+ hours for one piece to 1 and 10 minutes by the tool, an hour by the person. So if I was to ask, an image generator, build me a model, well, my numbers might be way off. So that's why, like, you still need humans in this process. Like, this is not ever going to be a process where the human's not needed.